Welcome to episode 2 of Rage Bait.
Episode 3. It's episode 3.
Well, it's episode 2 for the podcast. The gun
What?
was going into my YouTube channel.
What? I'm confused now.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to confuse you. The gun one is going on my YouTube channel, whereas the podcast is actually a series that I'm trying to keep in line.
Okay.
This one's for the podcast.
Okay. I see.
It will be episode 3 on the YouTube channel though.
Yes. Okay. Understandable now. Well, this might be helpful because then people will hear this and be like, oh, because maybe they didn't know. So what are we talking about today?
We are talking about men's roles as caregivers to their children. In particular, men make better moms.
Ooh.
But I believe that society has failed men completely when it comes to their natural role of being caretakers.
You know what? I just thought of this right now. Don't lionesses, they're the ones that go out and hunt? Wow.
Yes, lions are the ones that go out and hunt.
That's right. I remember that right now. Thank you, Lion King.
Yeah, for some animal kingdoms, it's the feminine role of the species to do all of the hunting and the gathering and the killing and
the... Well, I vaguely remembered that. I'm not sure about any other animals, but as far as society, obviously we know that we've been pushed into a gender role that you are not a man if you are not working 752 hours a week while the woman stays pregnant and in the kitchen.
What gets me is the noble seahorse.
Do tell.
The male seahorse, after impregnating the female then takes the impregnated embryos and puts them in the male, and the male then carries it to term and pushes them out.
Oh, that's right, because their gender changes depending on the interaction with the other seahorse. Because don't they
actually no.
No?
No, seahorses, their male and female is just that males are built with a special pocket that allows them to carry the babies.
Special pocket.
You're thinking of clownfish.
Okay, because I could have sworn that there was something where you go and you do the thing, and then whoever gets the injected, I guess, or whatever with the goo, then all of a sudden it's like, "Ha, got you. You're the girl now." I'm like, damn it, you got me.
I know that snails and slugs kind of do that. They go through this ritualistic dance, and they have to bite off the other genders in order to get them impregnated.
Oh. So why,
I wonder
why humans, because a lot of people won't even recognize the fact that there are some people that are born with both male and female genitals. So it's interesting that people don't want to acknowledge that is something that happens, but maybe it could be argued that it's an inconsistency, or, it's not the norm, although it is a thing. And I feel that it's always been a thing in even animals. Because, obviously we're talking about it right now. So
I'm just saying that it's really odd that in some species, it is the male's role to do the protecting and the providing and the overall learning of the offspring so that the offspring can be successful. Whereas the female's role is to basically say, I pick you.
Yeah. I have hit or checked off all the boxes outside of giving birth. In my situation, I was the sole provider and caregiver, sort of. I know people are going to ask, like, how is that possible? So I guess I have to do a story time. So I ended up getting hired at the company that I worked for many years, the same day my daughter was born. And at the time, my wife wasn't working. Obviously, she just had the baby. I'm going to work. So she ended up getting a part-time on the weekend. So I would work Monday through Friday. She would have the baby. And on the weekend, I would have the baby and she would be at work. And it's funny that every time that she would be at work, And people would ask her, like, where's your baby? They're like, with their dad. And they're like, oh, that's cute that he's babysitting. And when she told me that story, and I was like, babysitting? How am I going to babysit my own child? Like, make that make sense. But
Mm-hmm.
it got to the point where I was working from home at this point. Now I'm fast forwarding and skipping in the story, but now I'm working at home, and my wife was the one that was working outside of the home. So the baby was with me 99.9% of the time. So I'm doing all the diaper changes. I'm cooking all the food. I'm doing, the teaching and the disciplining and everything
Mm-hmm.
across the board, while my wife was going to work. And the same deal. They said, if you're working outside of the house all the time, then where's your baby? And they said, well, with her dad, because he works from home and we don't have to pay for childcare. So it wasn't like I was just staying at home and not working, but I had the baby also working. And I ended up going and working part time at the job that I used to be management at. So I had two jobs, or technically three: parent, working at from home, and then working part time at my old job. So a lot of people just thought it was funny that I was doing the majority of diaper changes and stuff like that, while she was the one that just had to just go to work and come back home. Because, of course, society says I should be a big old man and go out there and work. And I said, I do. And I did. We just happened to be in a situation where it's me working from home and her working outside of the home.
Right.
And
It's actually quite funny. Oh,
mm-hmm.
sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say it's that way now. I'm the one that's, I work from home, and I'm the one that picks her up. She takes her to the bus in the morning. I pick her up in the afternoon.
Well, I was thinking about the religious aspects of society and how the Abrahamic covenant religions is the most dominant in our country,
Mm-hmm.
and how they expect women to be the caretakers of the home, as in the ones who rear the children. But when you actually read the psalm, or the proverb actually, that describes the wife of this proclaimed woman that's supposed to be in the home, it doesn't say anywhere where she is the one rearing the children.
Yeah.
The closest thing that I found of her doing any sort of teaching in this proverb is that she opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teachings of kindness is on her tongue. That's the closest thing that it says to teaching or rearing children. Everything else is about her making money, about her providing clothes and food for her family, and how her husband and her children praise her of being happy and bringing joy. Nowhere does it say that she rears kids. However, there is plenty of passages that constantly tell men, you need to teach your kids.
Yeah.
You need to proclaim them on the wall. You need to be showing the example. You're the one who disciplines them. It's always the men doing the rearing, but it's like overlooked. Why is society so afraid of men taking charge of their household and rearing children?
That's a good question.
That's my question.
That it is a really good question, and I haven't ever really analyzed it, just because I grew up in the dynamic. My mother stayed at home. My father worked, but also he was old, and she was kind of old when she had me. But watching, even my grandparents and my mom's aunts and uncles and their dynamic, it was that old school. Dad worked, mom didn't. And it even brings
Mhm.
up the topic of, I want that old love. Remember when grandma and grandpa, they were together and they've been together for 50, 60 years. And I was just thinking that it's because society put it to where she was childbearing and she had to do all the disciplining and stay at home while he went out and worked. But also,
Mhm.
what if she wanted to leave? She couldn't leave because she didn't have any other skill besides being a mother.
Mhm.
So a lot of the times, grandma couldn't leave grandpa, whether he's abusive or a cheater or anything like that, because society said, man, go out there, work, take care of family, mom, stay home, then take care of the kids.
Well, going back to the biblical standard, I think that the reason why it's possible that society has turned away from the natural order of things is because you can't defeat a house until you tie up the strong man.
Mm.
So if the husband is supposed to be the protector and provider of discipline and knowledge to the household, and you strong arm him into debt, and you tell him you have to work in order to provide, neglecting the fact that that's the woman's role, then you get rid of the strong man, and then the house crumbles.
So now my
I'm
question
not saying
is,
that there aren't any strong women out there who can literally take out, anyone that
yeah.
come near their door.
Well, now
It's
my
just that
question
in the
is,
natural,
why would they want to do that? Why would they want to destroy the home by shackling the man?
well, I think it's all rooted in racism. The
Oh well,
whole,
well, do tell,
it's all in racism.
do tell.
because because here's the thing that I've noticed over and over and over again so far is that, and again, I'm not of that culture. I don't have slavery in my blood, so I don't, I can't really say with full confidence that this is my, truest of opinions.
Hmm.
But from an outsider looking in, I've seen that Black communities and Black families are super strong, almost
Hmm.
to a point of toxicity, but it's just balanced enough.
It's almost like they had
And
something in common during slavery, such as they didn't have anybody else except themselves. I'm assuming.
yeah, I mean, here you are being ripped away from your culture by somebody who has no respect for you whatsoever, doesn't even look at you as human. And in order to keep it that way, though, they had to separate the family.
So speaking
The
of
quickest way to
separation,
separate,
no, go ahead.
I was going to say that the quickest way to separate a family is to take away the strongest link. And usually the strongest link is the man.
Hmm. So what I was going to say is I had seen this on the internet earlier today, actually, of a pale man speaking on black people and saying, why is 13%, why do they enjoy or accept the fact that they commit the most amount of crimes, but also these women have the most baby daddies? Now, mind you, I'm a Negro. At least that's what happened when I
Mm-hmm.
came out of my mama. And
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a two-parent home. My grandparents grew up in a two-parent home. My great-grandparents grew up in a two-parent home. So I did not see what that was like. Now, mind you, it was a thing, and we can go down the laundry list of the government ripping black families apart because, and guess who they're sticking in jail? The man. But when it comes to the
Yeah.
black society and the black nucleus of the family, is
Mm-hmm.
I had all these white friends growing up that were either their dad worked outside of the home and was never really there, or they had a stepdad or no male figure in the house at all. While I was the one
Right.
that was getting all the jokes saying, "Hey Richard, you can't play catch," and I'm like, "Why?" And they said, "Because you don't have a dad." And I'm just, and I growing up, I accepted that that was supposedly the lie and the norm that
Mm.
black families didn't have black men in the home, such as myself right now. I'm in the home. My daughter's grown up in a two-parent home. Matter of fact, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm the one that she's around most of the time. And now she's looking at me
There
right
you
now. Get your go in there. Get on out of here. So, and I believed it growing up, although I was not the one that even knew what that felt like because I wake up, my dad's there. I go to school, he's taking me to school, he's picking me up. And when I got old enough, I started working with him. And I didn't see that broken home from the black lens, but I heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
thought I was lied to because they said that that's the way it looks. And even like I said today, I saw this video of this guy talking about it, and I was just like, that's false. Even my black friends that have children are in the
Yeah.
home, and I don't understand. Well, I mean, I do kind of understand, but again, they took the black male out of the home, but also the black male is in the home. So two things
Mm-hmm.
can be true at the same time.
Yeah, I can see that. As for me, I came from a broken home, which meant that my mother and my father didn't stay together. They
Mhm.
separated and they remarried, and my mother remarried several times.
Several
So
times.
I came from a very absent father background. So
Mhm.
then then it becomes kind of curious, right? It's like, well, then Commander, why the hell do you say that dads are the better moms when you had no dad in your life, period? Because I knew that men, and I've seen them make great parents.
Mhm.
And so it's like, well, why did I get these deadbeats then? And not saying that my bio dad was a deadbeat. He paid his child support. He did the right thing technically in our society, which was he paid all his child support and he made sure that all the kids were fed. He didn't allow any of them to come to too much harm.
Mhm.
I have a whole story on that, but I won't bring it in on this one.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is that when I came through a religious lens of what a father is supposed to be, my instinct was, well, then if that's what a man is supposed to be, I can be that.
Yeah.
And so I started training my ways of being a man, not thinking that I would have a husband who would actually provide those skills and knowledges and behaviors for my children. Because
Mhm.
I was raised, like I said, in a broken home. So I didn't expect that from a man.
So you had the trauma
That's
of thinking that that was the norm.
exactly. So I learned the ways of being a man, which is actually quite funny because a lot of the things that men do for children are exactly what women are supposed to do for children. You know,
Such
you're
as,
supposed to teach them survival skills. You're supposed
hmm
to teach them how to navigate through the world. You're supposed to be able to teach them how to do their favorite activities. It's always about the teaching. And it's just like, well, yeah, I can teach my kid how to do all that. Come to find out that there are men out there who do want to stick around and want to raise their kids.
yeah, you're talking to one right now. So,
Exactly.
and I also
So
cook
they
and also
exist.
clean.
Exactly. But I'm saying that in society as a norm, though, as you and I have experienced, they don't expect that from men. In fact, I've heard weaponized incompetence thrown around so many times, you might as well say it's love.
Ooh,
Oh, he doesn't know how to do that? Well, you need to tell him. It's like, he's a grown ass fucking man. He needs to be fucking doing his job as a man. Why are
yeah.
you dating a child?
You know what also, and maybe this is me with progression of thinking, is that I always, because me and my wife would argue about certain things at one point, and she would throw it out there like, men are insert whatever man's supposed to do. Oh, the booger, that's actually racist. We can get into that like in a different whatever. But anyways, she did not say ooh. I might have to edit that out. I'm gonna have to edit that out. so, so, but anyways, right? So this, that, and the third, and she will say, "Man, this, man, that," and I said, "I hate the fact that you want to put me in a gender role." Right now, mind you, this is few and far between.
Right.
But I look at it like this: is if you were able to go out there and fix the car, right? Because when you think of fixing a car, you're not thinking of a woman, you're thinking of a man. And if she can go out there and fix the car, please go do it. Or
Right.
if let's say the house is falling apart, and if she can do it, please go do it. But in my case, I'm doing all the things that are traditionally woman based, and I'm still doing
Mm-hmm.
all of the fixing the car, fixing the house, and all that quote unquote man thing. So
Right.
maybe I'm what is that? I'm non-binary. What am I?
Non-binary. You're a non-binary parrot.
Yeah, exactly right. Although I have a full, beard, but all of I think with our society, which what we would like to consider as advanced society, although current
Yeah.
events are deeming otherwise, but with
Third world much.
yeah, yeah. So with those things in
Mm.
place, is I strongly feel that whatever situation or life that you're living in, whatever works for you, go for it. Because there are people out there that strongly believe in trad this and trad that, trad wife, trad husband, right? But the conversation
Oh
that we're
yeah, I've
having
heard
to,
of the trad trend.
yeah, but with the conversation that we're having today, it's the lines of, if you're doing it traditionally, are you gimping your children if so-called or quote unquote the man makes the better mom?
Exactly.
Hmm.
The thing about a partnership, especially when it comes to relationships, isn't about the gender. It's about compatibility and what you provide for each other.
Hmm.
And those strengths and weaknesses are then passed down to your children. So if you bring in the money and she can provide a clean house, but you can't provide a clean house, but you can provide money, that balances out.
Yeah.
If you both hate cleaning house, you hire somebody.
Well, yeah. Oh, this lady wants to do all the hiring, and I'm like, look, lady, our tax bracket. Matter of fact, we're not even in a bracket. we're 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 on the bottom. We're in the sewer. So, no
Right?
hiring. And
No
I
hiring.
and her brain literally is above our means. Always with the I want to go
Mm,
buy this, I want to go buy that, blah 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 blah. So if I was talking to somebody else in a traditional setting, they're like, "Oh,
yeah.
your wife? Ah, my wife does the same thing." And then when I tell them, hey, my wife fucking grunts and scratches her butt and, her legs are hairy. I'm like, hold up, you're gay. You stay at home.
That's
It
not
feels
a
with you.
man. That's
Yeah.
not a woman.
Yeah. That's not a man. That's not a woman. What the hell? But, but yeah. And you're right. It depends on what works for that, right? It's supposed to be give and take, or it's supposed to be two people giving and two people taking the giving, right?
Yeah, exactly. You have to give to take. And if you don't have anything to take, you have nothing to give.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's what I try to teach my daughter is a balance. I don't try to teach her like, oh, this is what little girls do versus this is what little boys do. I just teach her this is how you do it. And I will never forget, she said this to me about maybe a month ago, right? Because, people know that I fix everything. And I was going outside to work. I had my overalls on and my buoy hat. And she goes, I want to come outside. And I was like, no, just stay inside. It's hot. She goes, well, I want to watch you work. At the time I was doing pipe work, which was last month. Mm-hmm. And she goes, because I might have to do this one day myself. She said that.
Nice.
And she's 6. Nice. She's only 6,
Yep.
And
kids are smart, man.
Yeah. But I strongly believe in you, the things that you want your children to adhere to, you have to do them. If you want your children to be clean, you have to be clean yourself. If you want your children to be responsible, you have to be responsible yourself. So my daughter wants to go out there and watch me work because she feels that she needs to learn this in case she has to do it one day herself. Was her words. And that's how I learned because I watched my father. I left home at 19 years old. 19, moved to California and stayed gone for 20 years. I never came back until obviously 2021, but I did it because I watched my father. And it reminded me of my daughter watching me do these things and her seeing that. And I was like, I must be doing something right because she's not saying, oh, I need to go to my mom's job and watch her work because I might have to, do things that she's doing. No, she said me, call me Mr. Mom. You know that old movie?
Well, I've taken on more of my dad's persona, unfortunately, because for my son, he rarely sees me because I work nights. Mm-hmm. And he always wants to hang out with me. He always wants to talk with me. He always wants to do things with me. But because I'm always working and sleeping, he rarely ever sees me. So he only has his dad to take care of him. Don't get me wrong. When I am awake, I do take care of my son. It's, I love him.
Yeah.
I love the little part. But the majority of the parenting has been my husband. And I think he does a very good job. And I tell him that regularly that, because he's always doubting himself because in his family line, not to get too involved there, the father has been a very much of a authoritarian, very much, you don't do what I say, I'm going to beat you kind of deal. Mm-hmm. And so he was afraid in the beginning to be a dad because he was afraid he was going to be like his dad, which I think is a very common fear for all human beings, that we don't want to end up a lot like our parents, unless we actually do like our parents and then we want to be just like them. But the point is
100% both of my parents, anger and alcoholism and the whole nine. I was a small child saying that I never wanted to be like either one of them. And now that I'm where I'm at right now, I'm like, oh my God, I'm exactly both of them.
Yeah. And it's scary. Mm-hmm. Every time I look in the mirror, I see my mom and it scares me.
I think in my case, I'm more accepting. Yeah. Who is that? I'm way more accepting of the good qualities that I've noticed, and I'm trying to weed out the bad qualities. Obviously, I used to be an alcoholic. I'm still an alcoholic. I'm just a non-practicing alcoholic because my dad, he drank and smoked, every day, but he was functional. He wasn't angry. He was quite quiet and worked every day. Me, I was angry and drunk. So I got the alcohol from him and the anger from my mother. And those things I've been working on absolving because I don't want my daughter to have that, looking at that as a reference, growing up and thinking that those things are acceptable, because she did see a lot of that in her first couple of years where I was the angry, yelling, wanting to break something dad where he's drunk. And when I went to jail, and I'm over 40, when I went to jail, and I think I was 41 at the time. And I said, what the hell am I doing in jail? Got a wife, got a daughter, got my elderly mother at home, and I'm in jail because of alcohol. I'm in jail because of alcohol. And it literally put a major perspective on what I wanted to do moving forward. Although I got late to the party, but I said, I'm done. Mm-hmm. I said, I'm done. And not only those things that happened, and I was, went to jail, got out of jail, and I still was drinking. And then my wife leaves because guess what? I'm an alcoholic and I'm drunk and I'm angry. And they left and they go to San Francisco. Yeah. And then I stopped drinking. And then I started talking to her and I said, I'm better. And now let's go to the men make better moms type of thing. Is she was supposed to get a MAR in school. She was supposed to go and do all these other things. And she was just unable to. And I said, you need to send her back to me. She sends our daughter back to me. And the next day I went and got all of her shots, got her new clothes, got her backpack, and got her into school that week. Right. That week. Yep. And then a month later, Andrea comes back. That's my little story.
Right. And you had a big trial to get through all of that.
Yes.
And in order for you to become the parent that you needed to be, you had to go through all those trials. Yeah. And you passed those trials because now you are an upstanding citizen with your children and a wife who wants to be around you.
And that's true. Even my daughter, a couple of months ago, me and my wife were having a heated discussion, and she goes, Mom, if you ever leave Dad again, I don't care how mean he is. I want to stay with him.
Oh.
And I said,
that's a real hard thing to hear, but it's also sweet too.
Yeah,
I mean, from a mom's perspective, that would have broke my heart, but at the same time, it's still a good compliment.
Well, it's because Andrea understands her role and I understand mine, and it's not like we're trying to out parent each other, because I've told her, I was like, she needs these things from both of us, and we're not talking about splitting up, and the arguments have simmered down drastically since I have stopped drinking, which I haven't drank in a couple of years now. I think it's a couple of years now.
Good job.
Yeah, thank you. I always consider it one day, so I haven't drank since yesterday, and so on and so forth. I don't ever want to put myself back where I was because I have a child, because I need to lead by examples.
And that was Rage Bait, Where Living is a Privilege, Episode 2, Men Make Better Moms. Shout out to Sensei from Sensei on YouTube channel for hosting with us. And thank you, Dead Nexus, for providing the awesome tunes. Stay tuned for the next episode, Episode 3, Men Need Women, Women Want Men. And as always, stay tuned.